All right, let's get right into it. When you picture ancient Egypt, you're probably thinking of giant pyramids, right? And golden treasures. And of course, the all-powerful pharaohs. These guys were the absolute top dogs of one of the greatest civilizations ever. But that makes you wonder, in a world totally dominated by kings, could a woman actually take that top spot? I mean, could a woman really become pharaoh? Well, the answer is a huge yes. It was super, super rare, but it did happen. And today we're going to talk about one of the most incredible women to ever do it, Hatshepsut. She didn't just rule as pharaoh, she kicked off an amazing time of peace and prosperity. So let's talk about Hatshepsut. Her story is so inspiring that she's actually featured in the book series Fantastically Great Women, which is all about female leaders who totally changed the game. And trust me, her story is definitely fantastic. First things first, what exactly is a pharaoh? Just think of them as the ultimate king or queen, the most powerful person in the whole country. And you've got to understand, for centuries, this job was almost always held by a man. And that's so important because it shows you just how unbelievable Hatshepsut's journey to the top really was. So the big question is, how did she pull it off? Her path to becoming pharaoh was anything but simple. It was this crazy mix of family drama, a sense of duty, and a power vacuum that opened up at just the right moment. Okay, so to get this, you gotta know the key players. First, there's Thutmose I. He was her dad and the pharaoh before all this started. Then you have Thutmose II. He was her half-brother, who she also married. Yeah, I know, but that was pretty common for royalty back then. And the most important piece of the puzzle, her stepson, Thutmose III, who was just a little kid when he was supposed to become the next pharaoh. And here's how it all went down. Hatshepsut starts as a princess. Then she becomes a queen when she marries her half-brother. But then disaster strikes. Pharaoh Thutmose II dies, and there's no adult man to take his place. His son, Thutmose III, is way too young to rule, so Hatshepsut steps in as regent. Now, this was a totally acceptable job for a woman, basically a temporary ruler who keeps things running until the kid is old enough. The key word there is temporary. But see, Hatshepsut had much bigger plans. And this next part of her story, this is her most brilliant, most gutsy move of all. This is how she went from being a temporary babysitter of the throne to the supreme ruler of all of Egypt. You know, for someone like Hatshepsut, just being a regent was never going to cut it. She looked around and knew she was the most capable person for the job. So she did something nobody saw coming. She decided to claim the full power of the throne for herself. She wasn't going to be just a queen regent. She was going to be pharaoh. And you can literally see this transformation happen. On one side, when she was queen, her big title was God's wife of Amun. But when she became pharaoh, boom, new title, king of Upper and Lower Egypt. But she didn't just change her title, she changed her whole image. In all the official art, she started being shown wearing a king's kilt and even the fake beard, which was a classic symbol of a pharaoh's power. And here's the thing. This wasn't about her wanting to be a man. No way. It was an absolutely brilliant political move. She was using the symbols of power that everyone in Egypt already understood. She was giving them a pharaoh that looked like a pharaoh they could believe in. Okay, so she makes it to the top. But what kind of ruler was she? You might think her unconventional path to power would lead to an unconventional reign. And you would be absolutely right. But in the best way possible. She ruled Egypt for about 20 years, and let me tell you, that is not a short, shaky reign. We're talking 2 full decades of stability and prosperity. It was actually one of the most successful periods for her entire dynasty. So what made her rule so great? Well, while a lot of other pharaohs were all about war and conquering, Hatshepsut was focused on trade and wealth. She launched this famous, massive trading mission to a faraway place called Punt and brought back all sorts of incredible riches. Instead of conquering other countries, she just made her own country richer. She became a huge builder, putting up these magnificent temples and monuments, some of which are still standing today. Her reign was all about peace and making Egypt wealthy. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. After everything she accomplished, her incredible legacy was almost completely wiped from the history books. The final chapter of her story really didn't even begin until thousands of years after she was gone. It's a true historical whodunit.
Sometime after she died, probably late in her stepson Thutmose III's reign, someone started a massive campaign to erase her. Her name was literally chiseled off of monuments, her statues were smashed to pieces. The most likely suspect? Thutmose himself. Maybe he wanted to make sure his own son's path to the throne was clear by getting rid of the precedent of a powerful woman ruler.
And for a very, very long time, that plan to erase her actually worked. I mean, look at this timeline. Her reign ends around 1458 BCE. Not long after, her history is attacked. It then took over 3,000 years until the early 1900s for archaeologists to start finding the clues and piecing her amazing story back together. It's only now, today, that she's finally being celebrated as one of Egypt's greatest leaders. So why do we care about a pharaoh from thousands of years ago? Because her story is this incredible example of female leadership in a time and place you'd never expect to find it. It totally challenges what we think we know about the ancient world. It shows us that having courage and believing in yourself can literally change history. And it reminds us why it's so important to dig up these stories that have been buried. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. Hatshepsut's legacy was almost completely destroyed. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other amazing stories, what other incredible people has history tried to make us forget?